Hello and welcome to Dungeoneered, a podcast dedicated to discussing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Josh.
Let's do this. So, Josh, I was thinking this week for the Lukewarm Open, you know how everything's been put in a tavern so far?
Uh-huh.
I think we should, against my better judgment, we should go and extend outside of the tavern. So I thought it'd be really fun to invent a circus game for your players to play.
Okay.
Have you ever tried doing anything like that in D&D before?
I mean, I've made games. I don't know if I'd call them circus games.
Okay, well, let's elaborate. So what would you do? So if you were to create like a circus and put circus games in it, or like a fair and put like fairground games, how would you run that in D&D?
Well, I've seen one where they literally had like real games, like kind of like miniaturized versions of games that they had them do. But I always stick with dice. It's just easier that way. So I have rules for like all the in-game the games, like the dragon chess and dice and all those things. I have rules for those, for how they would play those. And then I would think about what the different kind of game actually is. If it requires intelligence to actually be like a part of it, or if it's more dexterous, and then I would add those, kind of allow them to get benefits based on what skills they have that would help them in the situation.
Okay, have you actually though like made like a game and run it like through like with your PCs?
I mean, if you're talking about like dragon chess and stuff, yes.
No, I mean like cheese wheel, like pushing a cheese wheel down a hill and have them run after it and see who can catch one better. And if you win,
I'm
you get
sorry.
the cheese wheel.
That is such a mad game. What?
Yeah, I've done that actually. It was a great success.
Okay.
So I made a whole entire like circus and fair one time, and I had a ton of games. I had sheep wrangling, I had cheese wheel, I had a very own card game that I made up. I had a bunch of stuff. Sword fighting, jousting. I made a ton of rules for all of them. And I have it right here. I had made bumper sheep, a pie eating contest, high striker, cheese rolling, and Cards of the Realm was my card game. But for cheese rolling, essentially what you'd do is you would roll a wheel of cheese down a big hill, and the first player to catch their cheese wins a big cheese roll. So in the town, there was like a famous cheese making, I don't want to say company, it's the wrong word, but like a famous cheese making place. And they sponsored a game at the fair where you'd roll a cheese wheel down. And essentially what you'd do is you'd roll sleight of hand to determine how easily you release the cheese. So how well you like could keep up with it, like the softness of the release. And then you'd roll in athletics to see how fast you could go to keep up with the cheese. And then a dex saving throw if you could keep your balance without falling. And if you failed, you'd have to roll D100 and it would determine what you did. And there was a 4% chance of a broken leg, like a 5% chance of a broken arm, some bruises, and then like nothing happens. And it was super fun. It was hilarious.
Interesting.
Yeah. I can't believe you've never done something like that. Like bumper sheep? You've never played bumper cars but on sheep?
That's crazy. No.
It was so fun.
I had a town that was like kind of Vegas-y. There was all the magic in the town, the kind of where they invested their kind of development was like neon signs and stuff like that. So there's these, it feels very much like Vegas.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of chances. Like there was a lot of like fighting pits and places to play dragon chess, cards, dice, whatever. And I had rules for each and every game that they could play.
Yeah, that's so fun. My favorite. I mean, I don't know. Bumper sheep's hilarious too because it's like bumper cars but with sheep, and then you have like a lasso and you try to like lasso people off their sheep. It's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
So dumb. Anyways, what's the actual topic for today, Josh? Probably not nearly as cool as bumper sheep.
I'm trying to think of a way to combine bumper, like to transition.
Transition bumper sheep to our actual topic.
Well, just like bumper sheep, we're going to talk today about someone who got bumped
By a sheep?
out of the material plane.
Oh, that was a rough transition.
It was really bad. So, okay.
It's okay. We just
This is my normal intro into it. We've talked about 19 topics at this point, and one of the races that keeps popping up in the lore are the giants.
Oh.
And every time I mention how interesting they are and how I want to do an episode on them. And so this week we finally are.
Oh, I thought you were going to say halflings.
No, nobody likes halflings. Our viewership would go down. We don't want that.
No. Speaking, hey, in my game Bumper Sheep, if you were a halfling, you had penalties because you were small. Anyways, that's beside the point.
Yeah. So to start to talk about this topic, we're going to start with the story of Giants' creation,
Okay.
which we kind of brushed on this already. So it'll kind of be a very small amount of refreshing before we go into the whole thing. So it all starts with a deity called Anum the Allfather. He is one of the first gods of Aber-Toril, because this was from a time when the worlds were still one. It was still Aber-Toril, not Aber and Toril. It was one place. He married and had children, which became the progenitors of most of the giant races with Othea, another early god. With Othea, he had Lenaxis, the original Titan. Now, I'm just going to say this. I know I already started, but I am going to mess up these names so bad.
I was about to say, can
Do
you
not expect them to be perfect.
Would you stake your life on these name pronunciations?
No, I will not stake my life on any of these names pronunciations. I think that's a blanket statement for all of our Dungeoneer topics.
Yeah.
I will screw up every single name, and I will do it unabashedly.
With pride.
And I will not ask for forgiveness. Yeah, with pride. It's fine. I'm going to try my best, but we'll see.
Pretty soon I'm going to start calling Dungeoneer Dungeonerd. Dungeonerd. Just
don't do that. I don't like that.
I don't either.
So, Lenaxis, the original Titan. Masud, the first fire
I
giant.
wonder if they were a masseuse.
Nicias, the first cloud
Did you
giant.
say Nikeus?
Obadiah. Yeah, it's Nicias.
To just do it giant. Anyways, keep going. Keep going.
Obadiah, the original stone giant. Otar, the first frost giant. Rook, the first hill giant.
Otar would be a good
Vilmos.
curse word, like cursing the gods' names.
Which one?
Otar.
Otar.
I like that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Vilmos, the original storm giant. Dunmore, the first wood giant.
Wood?
Which
Wait,
actually wasn't one of Anum's kids.
Wood?
He thought they were, but they were actually from an affair Othea had.
Wood giant?
Yeah, so that's one of the giants that we don't see in 5th edition. That we don't have a stat block for them. They don't talk about them, but they do exist.
I've never even heard of wood giant. Are they just giants that live in
but
the
they
woods?
exist. I'm not 100% sure about them because, as I said, they do not talk about them at all in 5th edition. Wood giants are just non-existent into 5th edition.
Maybe they all turned into trees. That's how we got trees. Anyways.
Even that was really bad, Aaron.
That's a pretty big stretch. Keep going on these beautiful name pronunciations.
Yeah, so they're also known as Vodkin, Voadkyn. But yeah, so Othea convinced Anum that Dunmore was their child, but it was actually from an affair. Ooh. And then there was also the two-headed giant, Arno and Julian, the original Etten, which Etten in Jotun, the language of the giants, actually means runt, because they were the kind of runt of the litter, and they were always treated bad in the kingdom of giants called Astoria.
It's so sad they were picked on by all the other giants because they were different.
They couldn't play any giant games.
Oh, that's so sad. What about hill giants? Are they in this?
Yeah, hill giants. That was
Did I miss that?
Rook.
Ah, okay.
Rook was the first hill giant. It was the one after your favorite, Otar.
Oh, yeah. Otar's belly.
Now, before I dive, I think Rook would be the one with the belly because he's a hill giant.
Yeah, true. You're right.
Otar is the frost giant.
Yeah, you're right.
So Otar's frozen beard would be by Otar's frozen beard.
No, it'd be Otar's nips.
What?
That's what it would be.
Oh man, you're ridiculous. Okay. Now, but before I dive more into that, I got to mention something. Anum originally was a terrible misogynist. and actually cast magic, making sure all of these children would be born as boys. But he had a dalliance with a giant woman called Hyatia. Now, Hyatia no, I skipped a line there. I'm going to cut that. Go. Hyatia was the daughter. He definitely didn't have
Are we going to cut this, though? We can't now. It's too late.
I am.
Nope.
Okay, but so this is what it... Oh, fine, I'll keep it in.
Yes.
But so... okay. So he did the magic to make sure that he only had boys. He had a dalliance with a giant woman. After all of these sons were born, that resulted in a child that was hidden from him until she reached adulthood, called Hyatia.
Oh, okay.
Hyatia proved herself to be incredible, doing great feats and showing Annam the error of his ways. After her, he let his daughters be born untouched, unchanged.
Oh.
After her, he had two daughters. I'm never going to make this right. Ayalanis
Sounds good
and
to me.
Diancastra.
After all, I am the lore master. I think that sounds just like a perfect pronunciation.
So after the birth of his sons, Annam created a kingdom for them called Astoria. It was for them to rule and for their offspring to flourish in. This is when he created one of the most important parts of giant culture, called the Ordning. It's their kind of social hierarchy. The Ordning is so ingrained in their culture that going against it is seen as evil. The Ordning uses a complex web of skills and qualities to determine one's status within it. These skills and qualities were things that all giants believe Annam displays to the extreme. So he is seen as like the perfect giant because everything that the Ordning wants you to be good at, he is supposedly the best at. In the Ordning, you advance by challenging a superior and proving yourself better at that particular skill than them. Restrictions on these challenges vary based on the type of giant. Now, despite these differences between the different groups and types of giant, it was seen as an insult to treat any higher ranked giant from another tribe as an inferior, because this cultural ordning transcended national borders, tribes, any sort of groups. Now, between the different types of giants, there is a completely separate system that even the lowest ranked member of one group, of one like race of giants, is above the highest ranked member of an inferior type of giant. Now, the giant ranking goes like this. It's Titans, then Storm Giants.
Before you go,
Cloud Giant.
Do Titans have like a stat block in D&D? Anywhere in D&D?
I think so.
I've never seen it, but then again, I only own the monster manual, so.
I mean, so that's the thing. They are like deities. Titans are like deities. So I don't know if they're 100% have a stat block in 5th edition.
Yeah, I've never even like heard of anything like. I mean, I guess I have because Critical Role they fought like a Titan, right? Or they were in an undead Titan.
They were in an undead Titan.
Yeah, that's the only thing I know anything about Titans.
Yeah, so I think they only had statistics in 3rd edition, 2nd edition, and 1st edition. It looks like.
Got it.
In 3rd edition, though, they have CR ratings, and they put the CR of a Titan at 21.
Oof.
And that's just your average basic Titan.
I mean, I guess I don't know anything about 3rd edition CR rating, so.
That's true. It could, but
31 and
I mean, if you just take it one for one, they're very powerful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the giant rankings go Titans, Storm Giants, Cloud Giants, Fog Giants, Fire Giants, Frost Giants, Stone Giants, Mountain Giants, Hill Giants, Ettins, Giant Kin, then Ogres.
Poor ogres.
They're even behind just Giant Kin, people that they did not care
Yeah.
to specifically be like, this group's, they're like, oh, because they're from another dalliance of Othia.
Oh, sad. We didn't hear Wood
as
Giant
our most
in
giant
there.
kin.
Wood Giant wasn't
was
in
that?
there because they just don't exist anymore.
So anyone where it's like it's not quite, it wasn't mentioned, they are considered in giant kin.
Got it. So Wood Giants are giant kin.
Yeah, they would be put in the same place as giant kin.
Maybe that's what the Furbolg came from.
I mean, we know where the Furbolg came from.
Cows.
It was the
right.
same dalliance that created. Yeah, So I'm going to get into that kind of stuff. So now, as this ordning had been established and the sons of Annam had begun to create their kin, the real history of the giants begin. They ruled in relative peace and prosperity for around 4,000 years, expanding Astoria across nearly half of Faerun. Now, during the giants' greatness, they had a massive empire, and they were rivaled only by the dragons. Now, we briefly talked about this before in, I think it was our first episode where we talked about Aber and Toril, because in the splitting of the world, Aber and Toril, there were an excess of dragons that got put into Aber. So in Aber, the dragons easily defeated all the giants there, and they ruled the whole world.
Wasn't there like a giant dragon war, right? Isn't that a thing?
Well, yes. So after they did that, there was... Well, so that's what happened here in Toril.
Got it.
Toril is the main world, for any of you who didn't listen to the first episode. Toril is the main world that D&D takes place on in the Forgotten Realms. And so originally it was Aber. Okay. So originally it was one planet, and they just call that Aber Toril. That planet had during a time when magic went crazy, it kind of split into two different places that now exist in the same location. Crazy physics stuff. You can't really travel to the other one from one.
Yeah.
And so as it split up, certain things happened and certain creatures were more prevalent in one area than another. So one of the things that happened in our world is what I'm about to talk about, where there was a war between the dragons and the giants. In Aber, there wasn't enough giants to hold that war, so dragons just took over.
Yeah, okay.
Now, in our world, there was enough. And part of that is they put a lot of strain on both sides of the dragons and on the giants. And so by the end of the war, there was just both their kingdoms were decimated. And one of the things that happened when the growing tensions of this, it's called the 1,000-year war because it took 1,000 years to end.
Wow. It's a long
By
war.
the end of it, for the dragons, one of the main reasons why the dragons tried to get peace talks is because they were about to have a civil war. There was unrest between the chromatic and the metallic dragons. And so that kind of tension boiled in because of this fight that had lasted for 1,000 years. Now, to end it, Annam and the dragon god Garrix met, and they decided that the way they would figure out who won the war is they played a game.
My brain were on
Yes.
a weird... His name is Garrix? Gargak?
Garrix, which it might be a Gygax.
Is it? Yeah. It's gotta be.
I thought so.
And not to mention his first name is like Gary, right? Gary Gygax?
Yeah, Gary Gygax.
It's gotta be. It has to be. There's
Yeah.
no other way.
Yeah, so that's what I always like to throw one into my world as well. Have like some sort of Gary Gygax reference in there.
Yeah.
Like I had a forest called the Great Forest of Gixia, which is it's a but
Just a forest with a bunch of Gary Gygaxes running around.
it's just he's just duplicated over. He's the wood giant trees.
Yeah.
But no. But so what they meant to do, what they wanted to do to decide the war is that they played a game called Wa-Re. And actually, Aaron, if you go in our Discord channel, you can see a image from one of the editions where they are. You can actually see the two playing Wa-Re.
Oh.
Now, what happened is this game actually ended in a stalemate, and so what they decided to do was to just end the war anyways, because they both wanted the war to end.
I was
but
hoping
nobody...
it was going to be like a Red Rover, but with giants and dragons. That's really what I was hoping. Red Rover, Red Rover, send Thordak right over. That's what I was hoping.
But no, so the game ended in a stalemate, and they just decided that neither side won. We're just going to end this war because they both wanted the war to end. It was at that point that Othia had another affair with Eulutia, creating Furbolgs, Fomorians, and Veerbeeg.
Veerbeeg.
Again, not sure. Not in 5th edition.
No idea what that is.
But so Eulutia is the one that Othia had an affair with previously, which created the Vodkin, which are the wood giants.
Got it.
So she had affair with him. She had more kids with this guy.
Got it. Jeez.
This affair is discovered by Annam. Sorry, not Anthem. Annam. And he finds out of more affairs that she had that created the ogres.
Oh, rip. Poor ogres. Oh.
He is enraged and heads down to Toril and kills Eulutia.
Wow.
But Eulutia had a magic pendant that could not be controlled by others, and this lesser deity of the ocean died, and everything around it began to freeze. This magic pendant was so magical, it just began freezing the world. And this magic continued to grow stronger and stronger and stronger, freezing more and more and more of the world until it froze literally hundreds and hundreds of miles.
Where did the giants fit? I mean, not giants. Where did the Cyclops fit in on this?
I'm not sure. I did not see anything about Cyclopses.
Aw, poor guys.
Maybe they don't exist in 5th edition? I don't know. I didn't see anything specifically talking about Cyclops.
My party fought one a while back. Poor guys. They're just forgotten about.
Originally come from the Feywild, so then they're not related to Annam or any of that. Yeah, it says they're from the Feywild.
Oh, interesting.
Wow, their history is
kind.
Oh no, it says while Cyclops has stated that they descend from the line of Annam, most giants thought that these brutes come from one of Othia's trysts, which actually would make a lot of sense with the kind of creatures that are made through her trysts.
All right, there we go. Answer,
yeah. But so this freezing begins to extend and extend and extend out miles and miles and miles. Now, in the north of the Sword Coast, where most adventures take place in 5th edition, there is a frozen cold area to the north, in the north side of the Sword Coast. That is where Icewind Dale is, and I forget what the new campaign is called.
Of Icewind Dale, I think.
Yeah, Frost Maiden. So that's where that all takes place, in the frozen area that's frozen because of this pendant.
Oh, that's cool. That's a cool idea.
Yeah. Now, after killing Eulutia, this is where the story gets rough.
Are we gonna get into some crazy giant shenanigans going on?
I wouldn't put it. It's yeah. So Annam decided to create another giant son to unite the giants again and rebuild the empire. And he went to Othia, but she rejected him because she loved Eulutia.
Ooh. Rough.
Yeah, okay, you see where this is going.
Rough.
Annam forced himself on her.
Oh, no.
And she became pregnant. But she wasn't weak in any way. And she gave Annam a choice, an ultimatum. Either she will birth the baby early and have the ogres rip it limb from limb, killing it.
Gosh.
Or Annam would leave Toril and never come back.
Ooh.
The only way he could return would be if this child rebuilt Astoria to its former glory and called his name.
And that's how Hercules was born.
But he couldn't return until that had happened. And Annam accepted.
So I'm assuming, he chose to, leave or whatever?
Yeah. So he cannot interact or be on Toril at all currently.
Wow.
Now in the north, where the pendant was still wreaking havoc, that northern territory up there, where most maps don't really show up there in the kind of frozen area above the Sword Coast, that used to be amazingly great farmland. It's just a great place. That was where a lot of Astoria and its kingdom was. So up there, if you go up there, you can find huge giant cities and just
cool,
amazing dungeons and whatnot that all could be up there from the giants.
Huh.
But
that'd be fun to find a giant
it would
city.
be, and that's actually where the capital of it was.
Huh.
And in the capital of Astoria, the giants planned to try and stop the spread of ice. But Othia forbade them from doing this. She believed that it was Eulutia's right to have this revenge.
Of course.
And he shouldn't be stopped. Lenaxis, the first Titan, hated this and despised his mother for it, knowing that she believed it was best for Astoria to be destroyed. He plotted against her. He decided he would kill her with a poison. and I'm not exactly sure the details of this because this is madness, it was way more destructive than he planned.
Wait, a poison was more destructive than you planned?
Like it might have gotten into like the food source or water or some. I don't know what happened. It killed all of his brothers
Wait, what?
as well as Othia.
How is that even possible?
The only other person that was fine besides Linaxis was Arno and Julian the Etten and Dunmore the Wood Giant.
What, did he like trip and fall and drop his vial in the well?
I don't know. It's madness.
Doo-dee-doo. Just gonna go poison.
But so Linaxis, in the end, was cursed by Othia as she was dying. If he ever left her shadow, he would lose his immortality. So he and his Titan brethren headed back to the plane Arborea, to the heavens there, so he would forever keep his immortality. But he was now pretty much trapped there. This murdering of all the major players in the capital made everybody that was kind of living in that city at the time abandon it. And so now there's this huge capital city that was of this amazing, huge, giant empire that's just covered with frost and frozen up there. That could be a really cool place to create a dungeon or create some sort of cool moment for a character story. Nowadays, the giants and the dragons are nearly extinct. It is suggested that only 500 of each giant actually still live on Toril. The last son of Othia and Annam was actually born a runt.
Aw.
So he was really small, only about 12 feet tall.
Oh, rough. Only 12
Which
feet
I think
tall.
they're like 40 feet tall. I think they're supposed to be like 40 feet tall or more. So
Giants?
12 is, yeah,
Or Titans.
giants.
Oh, I have no idea. I thought they were like...
Yeah, I think they're
don't know,
supposed to be
there's
40
there's
feet tall. So 12 is crazy. Well, so that's the thing. They as they kind of go up in the ordning, their size goes up too.
Got it.
Like a hill
Yeah, 'cause I know
giant is
there's a
way
chart.
smaller than a fire giant, and a cloud giant is way bigger than a fire giant.
Yeah, I know there's a chart in the monster manual, if I remember.
There is, yes. But so this runt was known as Heart Killer. He sought to unite and rebuild Astoria just like his father wanted. But being a runt, he was continually rejected by all the classic giant races. The only ones who decided to follow him were the pseudo-giants or giant kin. He decided to try and rebuild with them anyway, creating a new Astoria that welcomed giant kin and wasn't as discriminatory as the previous ones. Sadly, this was seen in a negative light by the so-called true giants, and he ended up fighting the king of the storm giants for 100 years. And in the end, they both died. This was the final blow, the straw that broke the camel's back to Annam, and he was angry at his creation's response to Heart Killer. And he finally rejected them, and those around the area of his death were told this, and that they would have to live in a world ruled by elves and humans.
Oof, rough.
No longer would they be a dominant race. They would be struggling to survive in a world built by and for smaller races. But he said not all hope is lost. For one day, another will come to rebuild Astoria, and they will rule once more.
You know what this reminds me of? Or gives me hope for, I guess would be a better way to say this.
The future of
So-
all giant kind.
Giants died to humans. Not died, but lost to humans. So that means humans are going to lose to halflings, and halflings are going to rule. Just following the
You had to
steps.
take it to a weird place.
Following the order.
But okay, so what do you think we should create based off this story?
Well, I had an idea that related to our podcast. Oh, yeah, when we talked about like the Titans and stuff. The people like the beginning, not the beginning of the world, but the guys who drowned in the lake and stuff, right? I think that's what we were gonna go
The
with.
guys who drowned in the lake?
Yeah, remember we were talking about how
Yeah.
I was talking about Blood of Zeus, like
The
those types of
corruption
people.
down there and the Knights of the Portal?
Yeah, yeah, and how they fought off. They broke the
They broke the corruption.
and they flooded that whole valley and killed all those like giant people. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was we ended up making it the corruption.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I don't know. What's your thought then?
Well, so I was thinking we just create giants. We don't have. It doesn't have to be like a huge. Like it could just be that these things are super rare. These giant humanoids. But we just kind of create who they are, why they exist, how they exist, what they do, that kind of stuff.
So we like just create giants in our world and how they came to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess let's open up the floor. Do you have any ideas? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking very few. I think they are. I'm not sure about their history, but I think nowadays they're very rare, and I don't think they congregate together. And I kind of want them to hide.
Do you think it's always been a few amount, like a small amount of giants, or
That's the thing. I don't know. I don't know if I want to. I mean, maybe, because I kind of want them to be able to hide. I want them to be. So Othia in this mythology, her main form is of a giant mountain that is in the Sword Coast. And so I kind of want these titans, or whatever we're going to call them, to be they can take the form of these giant foundation, these things, like maybe it's a giant rock or a huge tree that is just been there for thousands of years or whatever. Like they live a really long time, and they kind of have this mystical thing about them.
okay? So I guess we have to kind of go back to like creation again and discuss how. So we have these two gods that were fighting. They pretty much killed each other, and their pieces like created the planes. We have good planes, bad planes, and the material plane. Do we think like, I don't know, it might be interesting to do like direct.
I think another deity created them. I don't think it was directly from the two creation deities.
Okay, so we have other deities that are creating. Why would they create giants? What did they do? What did they create giants for? What was the purpose?
I think they are kind of guardians of nature in a way, but they let natural progression kind of take place. So I think they don't react very much. That's why people don't know. Like they might live next to a giant their whole life and never know.
So like they're like a part of nature.
Yeah, so they can kind of take on these forms of mountains or giant trees or all these different things.
And I'm assuming this is more like titans and not like
Yeah,
like
that's what I think I'm seeing it as.
fire giants and stone giants and whatever.
Yeah, I'm thinking of it more as titans. Which, I'm explaining this, they haven't really finished this, or kind of like I think it's going to be an important thing in the next Dragon Age game, but they haven't really. They've kind of brushed on it lately. That there are titans in Dragon Age that are like so big that they kind of are a part of nature. I'm not sure exactly how they work, but like one of the DLCs, you're traveling through this huge cavern system, and you kind of find all these it's a dwarven area, and you find all these dwarven structures and whatnot. And at the end, you find out, which spoilers if you're playing, I think it's The Descent or something like that. It is a titan. You're literally inside of a titan. These areas built by these dwarves were in conjuncture with this titan, and so they kind of had created this symbiotic relationship because it was able to create these jewels and metals and all these things that could be used, and it was symbiotic. It was a symbiotic relationship there.
Okay, so I want to build on this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What if? Okay, I don't 100% remember what our pantheon was like. I remember we created the two like creation gods who fought and created stuff. Did they create other gods? Did other gods form off of them?
Well, so far we have 3 other gods.
Yeah.
We have the giant tree one.
Right.
We have the one that was like the titan of kind of agriculture and kind of civilization.
Right. It's like the natural one versus.
And then we had their younger brother, who was the one that survived it all and kind of created the
those safe zones.
angels. Yeah, the safety angels.
Yeah.
That are paladin that we created, and that one follows that guy.
Okay, so I guess we have to make a distinction between the titans and the gods first, which just might take a little while. But how were the gods formed versus how were the titans formed?
Well, so I had an idea about that. Maybe they are like maybe one god, something happened to it, or maybe it did it on purpose, where it split. It was like it split itself. into these titans so it could spread its protective abilities across the planet.
Okay, I have an idea.
Uh-huh.
I have an idea. What if, and I want to loop it back to, I know you kind of don't want to, but I kind of want to loop it back to the two creation gods.
That's fine.
What if the gods are direct descendants of those two gods, like their personalities? And what if the titans are their physical forms? So like physical chunks of them that fell. So very similar to the planes, where like this war caused them, but the gods formed because of personalities of these two creation gods, and the titans are like the physical aspect.
So the personalities created the planes. Their physical forms created these their bodies created these titans.
Right.
Yeah, that works. That's cool.
And so what I'm thinking is to tie it to the corruption is that the main bad evil corruption guy is a titan, because he was one of the pieces that fell from the bad god and is now trying to grow and take over the material plane. How we kind of discussed. Because I think it'd be really fun for the party to fight like a giant, corrupted titan. Or maybe like a piece of the god fell onto the material plane and then the corruption corrupted it, and so now it's like a corrupted titan.
So what I'm thinking is that also,
because I think we need to give the corruption shape, and I think a titan is a really good idea for that.
yes, a titan is a great shape, and I think also it might be trying to, because the other titans are also pieces of this deity. I think
It's
they're
trying to
also
corrupt all the world titans.
yes, he's trying to corrupt all the titans on the world.
Yeah, so the world... Okay, I like this. So I think we originally said that the material plane was made from the physical aspects of the gods.
I think so. Well,
themselves.
no. So I think what we ended with was deciding that it was created. It was the joint creation before they kind of disputed each other and fought.
That's right.
So that's why it was evil and good, because they both made it.
Yeah, each of them created titans as representatives for the material plane. Like they're like their own like personality, their own, not personality, but their own like, I mean, representation, I guess is the right word. So there are titans that are spread around the material plane in forms of like a mountain, like you said, a giant tree, which we could even change. Instead of having those be gods, they were titans that fought, like the giant tree cultivation one, the tree one, and then the cultivation one. We could do that if we wanted, but like mountains, like these big landmarks are actually titans, and the corruption is trying to go and spread, which is also a titan, and take over those individual pieces. And once all of them are taken on the material plane, the whole material plane is essentially taken over. And so the corruption is trying to spread to each individual titan.
Yeah, I definitely
that a
think
lot.
they're trying to spread the corruption to all the titans.
And then the giants, see, I don't know much. Are giants evil mostly? Are they good? Are they mix?
They're as mixed as other humanoid races are.
Because I like the idea of giants defending the titans.
Now,
So
I like
there's-
that, but I think I don't want to make it a good or an evil thing. I want to make it a kind of there's this camaraderie, this giant kind of connection.
See, I see it as they don't really, they're more like worshiping these structures, but they don't really know what they are.
They just have like a feeling.
Yeah, like an innate, I don't know, like how somebody would, worship Mother Earth or whatever, or like anything like
Yeah.
that. These giants, like the Giantkin, are worshiping different titans. They all like are in camaraderie with each other. Like they don't hate each other. They just don't understand that, one tribe is worshiping a titan of the good creation deity and one is worshiping a titan of the bad creation deity. Like just severed pieces that have formed. Because I like that.
Yeah,
I think that
makes
gives like
sense.
that just gives like a place for giants to be. Now, how are they created though?
Giants?
Yeah. Not just titans, but like Giantkin. Like all the giants, storm giants, cloud giants, fire giants.
Well, so I think there is like an Anim Allfather, kind of one that created the giants in general.
Okay, so what if we broke it down into, because gods are going to be like the pantheons are going to be good versus bad, pretty much, because that's, pantheons for you. What if the gods created the giants, the good gods created giants, and the bad gods created giants, just as the original
I kind of want
inhabitants?
I like the idea of like Othia and Anim, how it's these two, And so maybe it's a continuation of that, where it's two deities that created one evil, one good, that created these beings. Okay, so I think a fun thing that we make like canon for our whole world, this whole world, is that something about creating life is really hard and it takes a lot of power. The only way to have that power is a mutual understanding between good and evil. And so I think all races in this world had to be a collaboration between an evil deity and a good deity.
Yeah, I was thinking along the lines of like every creation is like resembling the original two creation deities. And so it's like a theme throughout the whole world. Kind of what you were saying is that like the first creation started with these two gods and all other creation starts with these two gods.
Yeah.
Like world starts with two different beings. And that even would probably even extend to like humanoid reproduction, like two people, like
it continues down. The theme continues.
It just continues down the whole process of creation.
Yeah,
it's cool. Gods created.
Actually, I think procreation in our world requires 3 people.
Yeah, you're right.
just to ruin the theme.
Yeah.
Just to ruin the theme. Let's say you have to have 3 people.
There's 3. No, but just to keep that like theme, And
I think that's really cool that it goes all the way down.
And I think
creation of life requires 2.
Yeah, and I think like, but then we run into a problem of like the Titans were created from pieces of gods,
which is fine. They're the creation deities. They're the creation deities. I think they're fine to break the trend.
Yeah. Well, do we like? I mean, okay. Here's the idea, though. Do we want like Giantkin to have created normal humankind or separate?
Like I think it's gods that have to create humanoids, not giants.
Yeah. So then why would 2 different gods create humankind and then 2 gods create giant kind?
Well, I think we can think on that pretty easily for why did these 2 gods create orcs? Why did these 2 gods create? It's because they all had different things they were
wanting to do and
trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they like the people who made humans will be trying to create these kind of versatile middle of the road people that can take any position to do any of these things to kind of, and so maybe it starts out as like they're trying to make this world, and then they start with humans. Then they're like, wait, we need people that are stronger that can defend them and attack, and like they create orcs, and then they go through everything because of what it gives them.
No, I like that. I definitely agree with that.
And I'm sure there's going to be some that kind of are like disparate on the side where they're like, I just want to create this, and so they're like, yeah, let's create Tabaxi, and let's create. They have fun with it every so often, and I think that's fine.
Yeah, and create different races.
Yeah, and so, but there's some who are like necessity, or they thought it would help, because I think they're all working.
So then why were giants created then?
So I think giants were created to worship these parts of these titans. I think that was why they were created.
To worship these titans.
Or protect them. Worship or protect them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a pretty good...
Mm-hmm.
Why would the gods want to protect these titans, though?
From the corruption.
So the giants are protecting...
Okay, I got it. I think it's a mixture of protection, but it's protection from and for the titans. So all the gods created like the other races, and they worry about what the titans will do if they awaken, or if they will attack the races that they've created in the kind of civilization.
I like the idea of protecting from the titans. Mm-hmm. So giants were created, gods created giants. So titans are the only thing that can match God's strength in this world. And gods don't want titans to awaken for various reasons, because titans can kill gods, very much like Greek mythology. Like, titans can kill gods. And so gods created giantkin to protect and, like, watch over the titans so that they don't awaken. And the corruption is trying to reawaken all of the titans and corrupt them. Mm-hmm. And then, thus, kill the gods, take over all the planes.
Okay, that is great.
Yeah,
and so I think I think the giant kind, as we're talking about, they will kind of create cities, civilizations that are built around these titans to constantly watch over
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. And I like the idea of like maybe we can partially keep the Portal Knights like flooding this valley and killing a bunch of giants as like a mistake. Like they didn't.
Oh, okay. So so there is a titan under the water.
Yes.
They did not know there was a civilization of giants
Right.
living in that valley
protecting it.
that they did get flooded.
Yeah.
And maybe that was why the corruption was there. They just were fighting the corruption. They didn't know the corruption was going for this titan.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that. Yes.
And so they
That's great.
flooded the whole valley and killed everything in there. And now there's a titan
Yes.
under the water, not protected by giants or anything like that.
Yeah, that's
And there's like
actually
an
really
ancient
cool.
civilization that's underwater, like an Atlantis type thing. That is.
And so I think
around
that'll
it.
be a really cool kind of return to where you started.
Right.
So the
Yeah.
party will play throughout the sessions and go up levels and go up levels until they have to come back. For some reason, the corruption is back at this
Yep.
at this lake where they were at
Yeah,
originally.
like it slowly has like made its way to that titan and is trying to awaken it, and the party has to go down and stop
Yeah.
it.
And that's where they'll find out about titans and that they're trying to be awakened and that there was once there are these giant civilizations.
One corrupted titan that they
Because
have
maybe
to kill.
giants are like literally just a myth. Like nobody talks about, nobody sees them.
Yeah, I like the
So they
idea of
just
them
think of
not
them as a
really
myth.
being a, like a common thing. Definitely,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
small
And so
tribes
they're
and groups.
considered a myth at this point until they find these giant skeletons underneath the water in this city.
Yeah, and I even like the idea of like some giants have, because I don't necessarily want all giants to only be around like titans and stuff. I like the idea of
Mm-hmm.
some giants have like forsaken their duty and have like created their
Yeah.
own clans in other locations, or
Yeah, I think they're sentient like anybody else,
Yep.
so they can make their own decisions.
and then some, but their standard is like Giant Kin's standard is like to protect these titans, to protect everything from the titans, and protect
Mm-hmm.
titans. It's like vice versa, like all of the above.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I like the idea of one titan already being corrupted, and that's the thing that's the big bad evil guy that they fight at the very end. Not
Yeah.
the god himself. They can't kill the god himself. They're like the two
Yeah,
creation
the
gods
corruption
can't die.
is just a part.
Right. It's
Yeah.
just the form that the corruption takes. Is
Yeah,
this
the
huge
physical
titan.
form that has the power
Right.
to take over the world is what needs to be
And
destroyed.
you could do like a fun. You could do something totally weird. You could like have them like have to traverse inside this like corrupted being and like kill it from the inside, like stab its heart. You could do like all
or
sorts
at
of
least
stuff.
kill the corruption inside of it.
Yeah, yeah. So you could do all sorts of weird stuff with that combat if you wanted. I mean, you could just have it be a giant creature that they're fighting. You could do that too, but
Yeah, I would probably have it be like a giant dungeon that it would literally be stabbing itself. So you would have to watch out for these swords that would come in.
yeah, or like just corruption along the walls and things that like like all sorts of stuff that's inside and attacking it.
Yeah.
A very Critical Role, I guess, finale, because that's kind of what Critical Role did.
Yeah, they were climbing up an undead titan.
Yeah, where Vecna was in the middle of this Titan. But I like that idea. I think that's a really fun idea. And the corruption is inside this Titan.
correction. Let me just fix my glasses. Correction, Aaron. He was at a city at the top of the Titan.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
You're right. All right. Okay, sir.
Somebody might say it, so I just thought I'd
No, it's not my
get you before them.
No, yeah.
Get
but I
your
think that's
get
fun.
your little actually in there.
Yeah, actually, excuse me. I got my bird excited.
When is your bird not excited?
That is an
Seems
excellent
like he's
question.
always chirping when we record our podcast.
Yeah, she was taking a nap earlier though, but now she's awake. So rip. But yeah, so then Titans were pieces of the gods, just like recap, right? Titans were pieces of the gods. They're the two creation gods. And the gods created Giantkin.
Okay, I think you're gonna have to stop your bird. That was 5 in
It's like 6 in a row.
like a few
excited.
seconds.
Yeah, she's excited. But the gods created Giantkin to protect the world from Titans.
Mhm.
And the corruption, the final form of the corruption is a Titan that's trying to corrupt the rest of the Titans to take over the material plane. I like
Yes.
that a lot.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Now, what I would do, which would be really cool if you have a player willing to do this, if you have like a pseudo giant like Furbolg or Goliath or any of those types of part giant creatures, have them somehow have like a prophecy about like a giant of unlikely kind will be the one to truly save the world from like some sort of thing to play up this giants type thing.
Yeah, like a giantkin. An unlikely giantkin will.
Yeah, like Heartkiller from Anim's story.
Yeah, but replace it with a PC.
Yeah.
I was also thinking though, like the Titans could like represent elements of the material plane. So like stone, fire, water. You could do that too. Like one is a volcano.
Yeah, you could do it too.
Like one is a volcano type thing. One is like a coral
just
reef.
A basic mountain.
Yeah, like a coral reef. One is, I like that a lot actually. Like one's a coral reef, one's a volcano, one's a mountain, one's a giant tree, I like that a lot. At least that's like their forms.
I'm trying to think of something for some sort of ice. Could it be like a giant
glacier?
Glacier?
Yeah, glacier would probably be what I would do.
Mm-hmm. No, the one below the water.
Yeah, what would that be?
It was not originally below the water.
No.
So is it a canyon?
What kind of like...
In the absence of a shape. In the absence of...
Well, I like the idea of it actually being like a volcano.
Oh, down there? So an underwater volcano. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, that was flooded. Yeah. Because it's in like a valley and, plate tectonics and stuff, so that would make sense. But if that's how the material plane works in this world. But... Yeah, like a dormant volcano.
So next week we're going to talk about plate tectonics and how that works in our world.
Let's see here. Yes, and that is why we have underwater volcanoes. Yeah, I like that a lot.
I think that's a little beyond me to talk about plate tectonics.
Yeah.
I've definitely done science classes where we talked about it and stuff, but I don't have enough confidence that I'd get it all right to do a topic on it.
I'm pretty confident about it, but it'd be interesting. I don't know if the material plane would work that way, but that's way beyond the subject. What I was thinking, though, is would there be like... Now, maybe not because the gods created like humanoids, but would there be like some sort of like something that represents living, like animals and stuff? Like some sort of like flesh or...
Are you looking for a flesh titan?
I am.
Oh, you're gross.
Because like, what represents like animals and?
Well, so there's. I
guess that's not an element, though.
I think they're
that'd be
of
so
the
gross and
area.
Creepy. A flesh titan. What if that's the one that's?
Yeah,
corrupted?
I know, you're super gross. Well, so just for all our listeners who might not have been playing for many editions, I haven't either. I'm just on 5th edition's the only edition I've played.
I've played 3.5.
Well, I think I played a little bit of 4, but I mean, as most people, I bounced off it.
Yep.
But so
4th edition, the end of the giant kind.
But so they had in earlier editions they had a spell called. So they currently have a spell called Flesh to Stone.
Yeah.
They used to have a spell called Stone to Flesh. You could just turn a stone wall into flesh. What?
Yeah, it'd be so yummy.
Gross. I just want to cut through this wall real quick. I'm gonna do.
Oh, you slash through
stone
it?
to flesh.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, that's what you use it for, to get through places.
That's so nasty.
Gross. But no, so what I'm thinking for, I think the titans of the different areas they also embody the kind of spirit of the creatures that live there. So there would be a giant tree titan. It is just a giant tree, and it is the kind of summarization of the forest and the creatures within.
What about a giant storm titan? And that's where storm giants
I think there's definitely one.
Giants.
So I think there's definitely one that's like a giant tornado,
like an Everstorm,
constantly,
or like an Everstorm, like something that's constantly blown. Like,
yeah, and so there's an area of the world where there's just a constant tornado, and people just think, oh, it's just a constant tornado. It's always been there.
Hurricane would probably be better than a tornado.
I don't know the difference, Aaron. I couldn't help you. I think
tornadoes are the ones that go and touch the
tropical
ground, and like hurricanes are the giant weather system. And I think a giant weather system
hurricane
would more fit a Storm Titan.
So the hurricane is a giant weather system that doesn't touch the ground, because you said
No, it can cause tornadoes though, but no. Hurricanes
okay.
are just like a
I think
giant
it's
low-pressure
both. I
system.
want it to touch the ground, so I think it's a hurricane and a tornado. I want it to like there's an area in. Now this is going to show you how nerdy I am in World of Warcraft, where
In World of Warcraft.
there's kind of a. I mean, I haven't played it in years. I
haven't played
love
it in
to
years.
like. Well, I haven't. I don't pay for subscriptions. I just play to level 20 and then I'm done.
yeah.
'Cause it's free. So there's an area of the world that I love to explore. It was kind of that 20th level. It's that 20th level area, so you're pretty much you can't. It's hard to move anywhere out like around it because it's kind of like at that limit. And it has a kind of small mountain like area, but at the very top of it there is a constant tornado, and there's like a mission that you could do there. I'm always too low level because I can't level up higher than level 20 for free.
The struggle of,
so I
of
can't-
free to play.
But there's some sort of constant tornado that's happening there, and I just always loved that and always wanted to incorporate that. And it's a constant tornado, and there's not even really a hurricane; it's just the tornado. But I like the idea of the full weather pattern and the tornado touching the ground, and there's like rocks that have been flying, spinning and spinning and spinning for years around this thing, and it's kind of just constantly tearing up. And I think first of all, figuring out how giants could live by it and protect it, and how they did that
Cloud
successfully.
giants could easy if it was like a weather
Could be
system.
cloud giants living above the hurricane.
Yeah, because
Actually,
I was thinking like a huge hurricane system, and cloud giants like live in it like they do in D&D, like, and those are the protectors of the Storm Titan.
yeah, that's actually really cool. I didn't think about
Yeah,
that.
but I like
Now it could be storm giants for the hurricane storm.
storm giants. I mean, storm giants live in two places. Some live in the ocean.
True.
Cloud giants live in the clouds mostly. But yeah, I mean, you could do anything that you wanted. My bird's on a screen post. Come here.
Gotta bring her over.
Yep, I did.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's really good. I think
Yeah, I agree. I can't think of any other elements that we're missing, though, to be honest. We have ice, fire, earth, nature,
forest,
Yeah. Storms.
swamp. What would be a swamp?
No, I mean, my first inclination
a
would just be
giant
the swamp
mushroom?
itself, or like a bog in the middle of the swamp.
Yeah, it is.
Like it is the bog.
Okay, so okay. Another nerdy thing. There's a creature in DC Comics called Swamp Thing, and I just love the idea of like in a moment where whatever this Titan is needed for, whatever, it just climbing out of this bog.
Yeah, it's like this
where it's like the
vine
bog isn't
monster.
that deep, but it's this giant vine monster
Yeah.
Titan that's crawling out of
Yep.
it.
That's what I would picture it as.
Yeah, that's really cool.
What about like deserts and stuff?
dunes?
Like a giant sand dune, like a
Oases?
sand, like a sand monster. Like
It could be an oasis, and it could be singing like
could be.
Wonderwall.
I do like the idea of like this living. I'm picturing though like a muck, the Pokemon, but sand.
Yeah, I can see it. Or it could be like Aladdin, where there's
Well,
the
that's right. That's
the
the other thing I was
giant
thinking,
lion. Yeah, the
And
giant
they could,
lion.
like, go
head.
into it and they could find a genie lamp. Oh,
Yes,
dude.
that's great. You go inside the Titan and find the
So
genie
good.
lamp,
Yeah, heck yeah,
and
dude.
it literally has
I don't
Robin
see it,
Williams'
like-
voice because, of course, it
yeah,
does.
yeah. I don't see it being like a cat though, like a. I'd see it like literally like a muck, like it opens up.
I get that, but
I think that'd be super cool though.
yes. Well,
super fun.
I think I'm gonna cut it there. That's
Yeah,
episode
yeah.
20 of Dungeoneered.
Heck yeah.
Another
We
one
made it to
down.
episode 20.
We did. Time to get to episode
We made
100 now.
Heck yeah, dude. I mean, maybe 50 is a reasonable step first.
Oh, 500? Okay, yeah, I guess we can do 500.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But I think that's where we're gonna end it. Thank you all for listening to this episode of Dungeoneered. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did, and I like these titans we've created and giants. And see you next time.
Bye.
There we go.